You're listening to Navid Moosa of The Mindset Movement. Hey guys, how you doing? Navid Moosa here from navidmoosa.com and The Mindset Movement podcast. So, as stated, we are doing a 4-part series of a Q&A. It's a total of 8 in all. We're breaking it up into 2 mini-series of 4 and 4. This is part 3. The past 2 weeks, we did part 1 and 2. So please check those out if you haven't. And let's get into part 3 right now.
I said, so these are right? He said, this is perfect. I said, he said, I had to do a little bit of tweaks. He said, nothing really major, but we're saying it now. Now, understand back then, again, not to date myself, this is 05, this is actually, I think it was 06, 05, 06, late 05, early 06. We had to print out the pictures, put them in an envelope and put a mail because we couldn't send attachments and emails and stuff like that. Yes, it was too big. The attachment there was no Google Drive and Gmail back then. It was all AOL and Yahoo and Hotmail. And so we had to print everything out, print the report out, put it in a stamp, send a packet off and stuff like that to the asset managers. And that's what we had to do. So that was my job. My job was to do these orders. So I'm like, okay, great. Now, I did not tell my wife what happened. I didn't tell her they didn't get the money. I took a credit card advance, essentially, is what I did. To say, I got paid, babe. That was it. Maxed out that credit card for the 15 billionth time. And so I'm commuting now back and forth every single day, but at least money's coming in now. You know, so I had to go through all that BS. I'm doing these work orders, it's paying the bills for the most part. The problem is I had maxed out so many of my credit cards and the interest were so high that although I'm making money, I wasn't making any money. The money was coming in was just paying all the backlog debt that I had accrued. So now I have my 487 credit score, right? And a $50,000 car, and that's all right, that's awesome. And I'm going back and forth and just paying and paying. I'm not telling my wife any of this stuff. I'm just keeping it to myself. So eventually it just goes and goes and goes and goes, and it catches up. Late notices come in the mail. This comes in the mail. For the most part, my wife's a workaholic, so she was working and had several other jobs too to help make ends meet when I was in this transition. So she was home, I wasn't. She saw the mail and said, what the hell is this? Yeah, busted. So I told her what was going on. Obviously, she wasn't very happy at it, about it, I should say. And a few words were exchanged, and that was that. And then so it was hard to hear, right? Because as, you know, at the risk of sounding macho, as a man, it hurt, right? I'm the man of the house. I provide for my wife. You know, here's this woman is working full time and has 2 part-time jobs, and I have 1 job to do, and that's to do real estate, and I can't even do that very well, apparently, right? So that does kick you. It does, and it makes you guess everything. So again, you go back in your head, why am I doing this? It's a 100% commission job. There is no payday unless you sell something. And even at that time, the deal could fall apart at the settlement table when everyone's there, right? So why am I doing this? So I asked myself that. I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit and go back, stuff like that, and I almost did. And I said, no, because as miserable I am now, I was 10 times more miserable working for somebody else. And I had to tell myself that yes, there's 2 miserables. This is at 500, this is at 300. I'll take miserable 300, basically, is what I had to tell myself. And so I said, you know, I apologized to her. I said, I'm sorry, I should have never done it, you're right. I said, it's just, I didn't want to think I was a failure. And you know, I'm not sure exactly what was all said, but for the most part, it was basically, listen, just tell me what you're doing, what you're going through, so I can kind of help you out. That's all I'm asking for. And guys, females are actually pretty easy. Just listen to them, feed them, and make them laugh. They're pretty much happy. That's it. And that's all she really wanted. She said, just tell me what's going on. That's all she wanted was to talk. You know, so I didn't give her enough credit. I didn't. So I said, okay, fine, I'll tell you. And then she proceeded to yell at me some more after that. And so all the cards on the table, she said, all right, what do we need to do? And so I told her what I needed to do. She said, okay, fine, let's get it done. So we were getting it done. We had our first deal. Finally, I closed an actual real estate sale. Again, $50 per order wasn't bad. You're making $2-3 grand a month, pre-tax dollars, okay? But you're commuting every single day. You're putting 50, 50, 60 bucks a day in gas. So it's eating up a lot of the profits. I sell my first deal, and I get like a check for $1,000 off that one deal, plus the $2,500 or whatever I was making off that. So it's a good month. So another deal, and another deal, and another deal. And it was like, all this is like great. So now the money's coming in. I'm like, okay, thank you, right? The money's coming in, bills are getting paid, all that kind of stuff. But old Navid kind of creeped in the back of my head, was like, we got this money, let's go spend it and go buy some stuff. Instead of saving it, so I bought some more dumb shit. And that was it. What happened? The market tanked. 2008 happened. 2008 happened. Nobody was selling nothing at the time. It was all short sales and all that kind of stuff, which was in my wheelhouse, but I was competing. So I quit. I said, I'm not gonna do this shit. And I called my brother up and I said, hey, I know you opened up this dealership. He has an exporting business of cars. I said, I know you have this exporting business of cars. You want to open a dealership. I need a job. He said, yeah, I'll hire you. So he hires me. And I actually ended up taking a part-time job, believe it or not, right here in Reading, off of Perkiomen Avenue, where the McDonald's is and the Home Depot and stuff like that. There's a Verizon store in there, or was a Verizon store back in the day there. I was working part-time there in the Verizon store and going back and forth, and I was miserable again. Because although I love my brother, I'm still working for somebody. But I got bills to pay. Bills that I created. Bills that I created. No one put a gun to my head and say, go to Macy's. No one put a gun to my head and say, go to Foot Locker. It was just bills that I created, right? It's a cycle I think that a lot of us do, is we get excited and we make this money and we feel, I worked very hard, let me treat myself. The problem is the reward system that a lot of us give, me included, especially me included, the reward system doesn't balance off. We feel, here's how I kind of tell people. My son got an A on his test. So he goes, Dad, can I stay up till midnight on Friday because I had an A on my test? Can I play games till midnight? Absolutely. Dad, I got to come Saturday. Dad, I got an A on my test. Can I stay? Whoa, 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 whoa. You were rewarded for that A on Friday, son. So as adults, we do that. We work hard all day and we get that paycheck. We deserve this reward, but that reward outweighs what we put up with to get it. It's just natural. Why we do it, I couldn't even tell you. But I feel that we all do it. And so, this money's coming in and all this is taking place. And then, like I said, the recession hit. And so I had to pivot, which wasn't very hard to get into that, but I had spent so much throughout the years, I had to keep up with everything. And I just couldn't. So my house of cards, if you will, collapsed yet again. My rock bottom, my rock, and I love my kids. Everyone knows I've got 2 children. They are the world for me, and I will kill anybody who tends to hurt them. Simple as that. I have a 9-year-old and a 15-year-old. My 15-year-old now, at the time, I believe he was born in, I think this was he was 3 years old. He was still in a booster seat, car seat. He wanted 99-cent chicken nuggets from McDonald's. I didn't have it. I'm driving a $50,000 car, but I don't have 99 cents for my son to get chicken nuggets. I'm a jackass of a father. There's no way to put it. That was my rock bottom. When I couldn't buy my son chicken nuggets, that was my rock bottom, simple as that. And I said, I can't keep doing this. And we had now this poor kid, I'm pretty sure he's probably messed up a little bit because of this, but whatever. We went into a house, a foreclosure, and I was like, go through the window and unlock the door for daddy. So I legit just opened the door. He went in, opened it up, stuff like that. I was like, my man, let's go. So gave him a high five, and he walked in the house, stuff like that. He's been in more foreclosures probably than a lot of you guys have, with all due respect. This kid has been in shitload of properties at the age of 3 and on. And so we go through, and he's all this kind of stuff, and he worked hard. I did it. I opened the window. So it hurt that his reward of the chicken nuggets, I couldn't give it to him. Right? Because he was like, I opened the door for you, Daddy. I went through the window for you, Daddy. I'm pretty sure I sniffed some shit for you, Daddy. I shouldn't have been sniffing for the 3-year-old. There's some shit I'm pretty sure I touched the shit and showed the 3-year-old. Don't tell Mommy touch that shit. Just let it go. And he just wanted nuggets. He wanted a Happy Meal nuggets. I couldn't give it to him. I suck. There's no way to put it. I'm a jackass and I suck. So that was my rock bottom. And I said, never again. Never again am I going to tell no to my son. At that time when he had 1. To my son. I'm never going to tell him no to food, especially food, for crying out loud. For those who grew up in big families, guys know, you have breakfast together, you have dinner together, just, you bond over the food and barbecues and stuff like that. So food was a big thing in our culture, in our household. So with the fact they couldn't do that for him, I was like, okay, my why now had changed. My first why was I don't want to work for anybody else. Now my why had changed. When you become a father or a mother or a parent in general, it clicks. It's like, whoa, it's not just all about me, right? It didn't click for me until then. That's how vain and selfish I was. It didn't really click for me until then. I'm like, holy shit, what am I doing? I can't keep going this route. I have to change. So that's when it hit, and I said, okay, I got to get to work. I really got to get to work at this point. So I pivoted. I told my brother, I can't work for you no more. I told my wife, I said, listen, I'm going to go in. I did talk to her. I said, I'm going to go in. I'm quitting my job at the dealership. I'm quitting the store I'm quitting the Verizon place. I'm going to go all in on this. She's like, are you sure, Navid? I said, yes, I am sure. I want to do this. She said, are you sure? She asked me like 4 or 5 times. So she asked me 3 times, and here's why. In Islam, there's a thing, heaven lies at a mother's foot before you go to the Father. So essentially, the stairway to heaven is 3 steps, and it lies at the mother's foot. So before you do anything, if you're questioning it, you ask your mother 3 times before you ask your father once. That's the importance of a woman, especially a mother in Islam. So, and my wife is not Muslim. She's Hispanic. She grew up Catholic, but she does respect, the faith that I practice. So every time I'm in a jam and I don't know, she always asks me 3 times, right? So she's like, you sure? And I'm like, I was like, I am. I'm sure this is it. I'm gonna do this, and we're gonna, get this rocking and rolling. And I get my notice at the dealership. I told my brother, he was crushed, but he respected it. I just quit the Verizon store. What the hell with you guys? I just quit there, and which you never should burn a bridge. But I did. I just quit, and I go through all this stuff, and I'm like, got my second wind. I'm going back into it, and what happens? I go in, I get a listing, I get it under contract, we go to closing, and the bank says, oop, we screwed up on the foreclosure, we can't give you clear title. This is a $15,000 payday on a $300,000 house. It's a it was a huge payday. The biggest paycheck commission I'd ever seen at that point in time. And I'm like, you're kidding me.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoy that. That was part 3 of this mini series we're calling the Q&A session with Navid Moosa. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please feel free to comment, send us any feedback, anything you wanted to hear, any kind of questions you want to ask as well. Don't hesitate from what you heard so far, and we'll see you next week for part 4.